Got it here. STO Zone Late Night Week 2, Bengals 31, Jaguars 27. Cincinnati. What began as a promising road trip for the Jacksonville Jaguars instead devolved into a gut-wrenching loss, a narrow 31-27 defeat at Packer Stadium that left more questions than answers. In a game defined by missed chances, untimely mistakes, and brief bursts of brilliance, the Jaguars were undone late by a Bengal rally, dropping to 1-1 on the young season. One first-half frenzy, Jaguars take control, Bengals stall. The Jaguars came out sharp, quickly building an early lead behind quarterback Trevor Lawrence's arm and a stiff defensive effort. Lawrence, who finished with 3 touchdown passes, orchestrated efficient drives and connected with his receivers in rhythm, giving Jacksonville a 17-10 edge at halftime. Meanwhile, on the Cincinnati side, things began shakily. Star quarterback Joe Burrow looked poised early but soon exited the game after suffering a toe injury in the second quarter. The injury to Burrow loomed large, shifting momentum as backup Jake Browning took over. At halftime, it appeared the Jaguars had the game under control. But as the second half would show, control in the NFL can be fleeting. 2 turnovers, penalties, and missed opportunities. A recurring theme in this game was Jacksonville's inability to close out drives and capitalize on big moments. The Jaguars forced multiple turnovers, and the defense made several key plays, but offensive miscues and undisciplined play repeatedly hurt them. Penalties, dropped passes, and poor situational execution chipped away at Jacksonville's momentum. Even when the defense stepped up, the Jaguars' offense failed to consistently respond. This inability to turn opportunities into points proved to be a costly flaw. One particularly painful sequence came late in the game, when the Jaguars nearly sealed the win but couldn't put the final nail in the coffin. Instead, Cincinnati regrouped and mounted a drive that would ultimately decide the contest. 3 Bengals comeback, Browning's quiet heroics. The Bengals' comeback began in earnest once Jake Browning stepped in for the injured Burrow. Browning engineered a methodical 15-play, 92-yard drive late in the game, culminating in a quarterback sneak with just 18 seconds left on the clock that gave Cincinnati the lead for good. Browning's final drive was a mix of calm pocket presence and clutch execution. Despite earlier struggles including multiple interceptions, he delivered when it mattered most. That composure under pressure defined the Bengals' comeback effort and underscored the Jaguars' collapse. Ja'Marr Chase also made his presence felt, hauling in key receptions and helping keep the Bengals in striking distance even after the Burrow exit. But the script ultimately belonged to the Jaguars, who surrendered the lead late in the game again. For what this means for Jacksonville, this loss raises several red flags for Jacksonville. Closing games, once again, the Jaguars have shown trouble finishing games strong. Despite having the better of the early exchanges, they were unable to hold off a comeback in the closing minutes. Ball security and situational awareness, turning the ball over, missing critical conversions, and not capitalizing on scoring chances have become recurring issues. These lapses often come at the worst possible moment. Resilience in adversity, losing Joe Burrow was a jolt, but Cincinnati still managed to rally. The Jaguars, meanwhile, didn't respond with enough adjustments after Burrow went out. That's a contrast that suggests Jacksonville may need to improve their adaptability and in-game adjustments. Mental toughness and discipline, the Jaguars' mindset in close games will be tested repeatedly this season. How they respond after setbacks, both physical like injuries and situational like late-game pressure, could determine their trajectory. Head coach Liam Cohn acknowledged after the game that the team must learn to finish better, particularly in road environments and under pressure. he emphasized the importance of reducing self-inflicted mistakes and making better decisions in critical moments. 5. Looking ahead, adjustments and opportunities. The Jaguars won't have much time to dwell on this one. After a Week 2 bye, they'll be gearing up to take on their next opponent, aware that every game counts, especially given how tight their playoff window could be. To flip the script moving forward, Jacksonville will need to refine their 2-minute and closing strategies to avoid late-game breakdowns. Improve ball security and conversion rates in high-leverage scenarios. Tighten up penalties and execution on offense, turning promising drives into points more consistently. Adjust to losing key plays or players mid-game by building better contingency plans, particularly passing game adjustments and protection schemes when under duress. If they can tighten those areas, the Jaguars remain a dangerous team. Trevor Lawrence remains a talented quarterback capable of high-production games, and Jacksonville's defense has shown flashes of being able to create turnovers and shift momentum. But as this Week 2 contest demonstrated, flashes are not enough. They need consistent finishing power and situational discipline to win close games, especially on the road. 6. Final thoughts. Ultimately, the Week 2 loss to Cincinnati was a reminder that NFL games often hinge not just on raw talent or early leads, but on the finer details: decision-making with the clock winding down, ball security, mental composure, and error-free execution in pivotal moments. The Jaguars had many of the tools to win this one, but they couldn't avoid late mistakes, and the Bengals made them pay when it counted most. For Jacksonville fans and analysts, this game will likely be discussed in terms of what might have been, but more importantly, it will serve as a case study for improvement. If the Jaguars want to contend, they'll need to take lessons from this one and convert them into sharper execution down the stretch. Otherwise, this kind of collapse may become a recurring theme, especially in high-pressure road environments. In the NFL, every inch matters, and in Week 2, the Bengals just gained the inches they needed, while the Jaguars lost theirs.